Discover PowerShell. Today we're going to discuss using the help system. We're going to learn to discover commands, using updatable help, interpreting the help, the about topics, and online help. So let's jump right in. We're going to continue off with using the ISE. I do prefer to work in the ISE because of, as I mentioned last time, the IntelliSense, the color coding. There's just a lot more features in here. You can use the console, as you can see, and there's just not much difference between the two for the purpose of what we're wanting to do. In version 1 and 2 of PowerShell, they distributed the help. And as you know with Microsoft, as soon as they deploy a product, everything is out of date and they're going to have to do tons and tons of updates. And so they ended up not doing any updates on the help of PowerShell. You could look online to see some current content, but it just didn't work out too well. And so it took a while for you to find what exactly you needed in the documentation, because if there was typos and whatever, it could get corrected, and it was just a problem. In version 3, it does not come with the help by default. So once it's installed on the server, or it's installed in your client machine, there is no help, and you'll see when running certain commands that it just doesn't exist. So we're going to go ahead and run update help, and this is going to download the help from the Microsoft servers. Once again, remember to be the administrator when running PowerShell. Otherwise, it won't provide you the access you need to download and save the content to the local computer. And it shouldn't take too long. So as you see, it was pretty quick. It downloaded the help. If you were to run update help more than once in the same day, it's just going to immediately return. So if I run it again, I press the up arrow to show my last command. It should just return very shortly, but it won't download any new content. There are, the force. I believe force will make it try and hit the server and download the content, and so you can see it going now. But unless you are really paranoid and you need the help like right now, I would just avoid running the force command and just do this command for whenever you want to do an update. I have it set up as a scheduled task to run update help, and later on we'll go more into using PowerShell with the scheduled task, and just all those nice features that you can use it with. So update help will save the help documents to the local computer. Now there is another command called save help, and this provides one parameter called destination path, which would allow you to save the help to, for example, a shared drive. One common scenario would be to download the help and save it to a file share, and then your servers get the update from the file share. Perhaps they don't have access to the internet, they just have internal network access. So this would be a benefit of using the save help. You just go grab whatever content was downloaded and confirmed by your administrator, and you just go with that. There's another command that you can run with update help, or rather an argument. Oh, I'm sorry. If we run help update help, that's what I'm looking for, then this would provide us details about using update help. So let's scroll the way up. Okay, so it shows different parameter sets of update help. That would mean there's at least one parameter that's unique between each version, and we'll cover that later on. Some more details about the update help, how it works, the fact that you'd have to run it as an administrator. details about every parameter that's available in the command, and we'll get to work with this a whole lot because it's very useful information. Um, and what the command will accept as an input when you're running the commands and using the pipe character, and this will be very valuable when trying to figure out why it's working or it's not working the way you want it to. Alright, so let's go ahead and close the screen. And so help is a command to run all the time. For every command that you're trying to figure out, use help. You can go ahead and read this when you have time. It gives you more information about the help system as a whole. We can see that there are a couple examples of using the help command. Help is actually an alias for get help. And in the ISE you can't really tell the difference between the two, but if you were in the console, for example, if we run get process, okay, you'll notice that it says more at the bottom. This is using a paging feature. You can press the space bar and it'll go to the next page. If we were in the ISE, it just shows it all. Okay, and even though it was like one line, you don't get that paging feature, so you have to do a lot more scrolling in the ISE. So that's kind of one thing that's annoying to me. And so we'll go ahead and run a help on another command. And we'll use a keyword instead. So let's say, so what happened here is that the help command supports using wildcard characters, which would be the asterisk, and it shows where SERV appears in different fields of commands, the help documentation. So you can see that there's a couple commands that are for services, and I see that serve showed up here in the reserved words documentation. So this is going to be really helpful when you're not sure where the help that you need is, but you know some keywords, so you can just search by that. As we saw earlier with get process, this will bring you the help directly. So I know the command is called get process. When I run help in the command name, it'll go straight to it. And then when we use the wildcard, it shows a list of matches. So here, if I wanted to do get service, then it'll go straight to that help. And you could also do like get serve star, but see, it doesn't really make sense to do that because there's only one. Now the help has some useful parameters. By default we were using the name parameter, so when I did help get process, it used the name parameter. But if I wanted to do let's see, what would I want? I guess I'll go with category. Then this will give you a filtered list of whatever the help you're looking for. In this case, there are commandlets, there's an alias. I believe it's going to default to everything for all filter, so I could do help category filter, and then it should show everything that's that would pertain to filter. Now it doesn't look like there's anything but the more filter. Let's try another one. So as you can see, there are a lot of commandlets, and it looks like there's a lot of aliases, and yeah, it just kind of brings back everything. Alright, so try the wildcards. Now another type of help that we saw was the about helps. So these are more about topics rather than a specific command. So you see here, like invoke troubleshooting pack. This is um, help on that specific command, but these topics are important because it covers a lot of examples and a lot of detail about each. So let's, for example, take about comment-based help. Okay, so gave me a lot of information, but it gives me details about how to use the comment-based help, how to add it into scripts that I'm writing, and which is great because then that means that I can use what PowerShell has built in my own scripts uh, to the benefit of other people, because then the reusability, the familiarity with the way the titles are um, typed out, and so on and so forth. This is just really helpful. So we'll go more into using the help comments in future videos, because right now we're just not there yet. Let's try help on another command. Okay. So, as I mentioned before, the different rows of the commands are different parameter sets. So each parameter set indicates specific behavior, and there are unique parameters that do not exist in the other versions. So, for example, script block. I don't see. See, I see it start with script block. See, this has an input object. This does have an input object. But see, this one has a connection URI, and this one doesn't. So this one has computer name. These two have session. So as you see when you're typing it out, you'll notice that this will come into play, knowing the difference. Now let's just cover specific areas of each command. So the square brackets indicate what's optional. So invoke command requires a script block, but using the script block parameter, well, yeah, the parameter name, if you will, is optional. Whereas for argument list, using argument list and their values are optional. And the less than and greater than symbol indicate a type. So script block is a type, object is a type, PS object is a type, and the square brackets inside of the less than and greater than symbols indicate one or more objects. So here we have just one script block, here we have one or more objects, here we have one PS object. And the same will go true for all the other commands. See, here we have a file path, which is optional, but the value itself is required, and it's of type string. And the computer name can be one to many computer names, and then computer name itself is optional, and invoke command on the computer name is optional. So let's just go ahead and try that out before I confuse it too much. So if we did invoke command, so see, I have session and I have computer name. We'll just do localhost. Now session doesn't exist. Okay? And the script block. And there we go. Okay, so let's talk about the positional parameters first. So if I ran this, that still worked. Okay, so how did it work? Well, let's check the help on invoke command again. Okay. Well, this view doesn't tell me anything about the parameters themselves. So if I run it again and I use full, then I can check the parameter. So see, here's a parameters section. And if I look up computer name, it says it's not required and it's in position 1. So I had localhost in position 1. And if we look up script block, it is required and position 1. That's very interesting. So how could it be that way, you ask? Okay, well, you see here it's in position 1 and this is optional, but this is required. So adding the script block switch is optional, but adding the script block itself is required. But on this command, which this would have been the one I ran, looks like script block is optional, but the script block is required, and the computer name. So you could say that these two versions are almost the same. For what I ran, they were basically the same thing. Had I had added some other option, let's just say such as use SSL, it may have made the two different. So go all the way back. Now I highly recommend to not run the commands like this, because the problem is if I did this, you get an error. Can't convert localhost to type string to a script block. So PowerShell is trying to take this argument and this argument and convert it. It's trying to convert this to a string and convert this to a script block. So as you're learning PowerShell, be as verbose as possible. Type all the parameters, names out, all the everything, even in your scripts. If you're writing a script, type it in there. And let's show another command. And this one we're going to do is get event log. Okay, and if I use the IntelliSense, it shows that there's several parameters, but let me just run it alone. Okay, so get event log. Log name is optional, but the name is actually required. So if I ran that, it's going to ask for it, saying that the first parameter is missing. What are you looking for? If you're not sure about it, you need to go ask your manager what to do. Then you can do Control C, and it'll just exit out immediately. So if we go check that help again, oh, that's not what I wanted, so I do full. Log name is required, and it's position 1. So if I know that, oh, so see, it gives me a list, and I want it to end. Oh, it's already finished. And there you have it. It's very simple to use the help. I would highly recommend you use the help instead of Googling, because it takes forever. Now let's try help online, because this is really important. So if I did get event log, you'll see that there's a online parameter. And this is going to take you to Microsoft's website. It's probably much easier to read in the browser, but it's the same content. And let's see, here it shows that it was published in February, but it was updated in August. So you can see that they've made changes to it, and that somebody at least noticed some mistakes, and they came back and fixed it. So even in the console, you can see that there's examples. The examples are great because it shows you how to do something right away when maybe you don't want to search Google, which, like I said, I recommend not doing it, or you don't have internet access. The examples are right there built in. So if I go back and I want to do examples, then I can just do examples. Let's see, it's exactly what we saw online, and it'll get you started right away. Now there's one other command that you want to try, called switch rather, called show window. And here we can do some keyword search. So list. Okay, so I know that I can use the list switch, or let's say log name. Oop. Okay, log name's here. Okay, log name's here, but I want an example with log name. Okay, here's an example with log name. Right. So that's just another way to get the help. Now, if you want to do more command discovering, you can use the command window. And this will also show you the parameter sets. So if I pull up get process, see we have 3 parameter sets, and here each tab represents a parameter set. So either I could type get process dash name, or I can come here and let's say can do copy and then control V. There you have it. I would avoid doing run just because maybe it's something destructive and you don't want it to run yet. It's better to go ahead and paste it in there and then confirm that's what you want. And I think that's it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, and we'll see you next time.